Hi, Jason Spangler of the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This time I have a huge box, came to me from California. I believe there's some really good stuff in here based upon my notes, but I've had this box for several months. I need to get into it and see what's in here, and I hope that you will stick around. I'll cut into the box, we'll pull the items out, kind of take a look at it, go down the historical trail, if you will, of what this guy was doing in scouting and see if I made a mistake or if I got a really good collection. All right, so what I do remember about this collection was kind of interesting was the guy actually mailed it to his brother who lives local to where I am. And then the brother brought me the box and we did the exchange, hand to hand there. So here's some really cool stuff in here. I'm looking, I can see just off the top, sash, OA patches. I see a blanket. I love campfire blankets that are full of patches. So there's some really cool stuff in here. Let me pull it out of the box and we'll go through it very carefully. All right, so here's what's in the box. You'll not believe this one. Take a look at this. Hopefully you can see the size. This is, of course, one of the most beautiful, probably the most beautiful jamboree patch that they made, 1969, held in Idaho at Farragut State Park. And I don't know what this is. I don't think this was anything naturally made. I think this was something that some mom or somebody wove together, embroidered, whatever had you. It's sewn on. It's attached to a modern jacket. This is basically like a rain type jacket. It's a size large, and it's just hand sewn on there, not with a machine, but somebody hand stitched this on there, and that is just freaking super cool. That is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. That might be a keeper. Some things I get in these collections are instantly going into my collection, and this might be one of them. So set that to the side. There is a great campfire blanket in the collection as well. I set it down here off to the side. I'll show that to you in just a minute, but I thought we could go through this stuff first to kind of dive in. I've never seen someone do this before where the guy took little bricks, you might call it, of cardboard and then put the patches in between to kind of keep them safe. So I thought that was pretty clever. Right off the bat here, we see some 1969 Jamboree neckerchiefs. If you watch my unboxings, you'll know my thoughts about Jamboree neckerchiefs. They're really pretty common. But now this tells you a little bit more. Trading Post staff, and it's all signed by guys who were on that Trading Post staff in 1969. So that tells me this is why the guy had such an affinity for 1969. And I don't know if that embroidered piece we saw was something original to the event that maybe was there. Somehow he got a hold of it. There's just no way to tell. I could probably post on Facebook in one of the groups, see if anybody has any knowledge of it. But I think that is super cool. But this one's kind of cool here. So let me use the camera now. We'll go through here. It looks like several bricks of OA flaps, which are among the favorite things that I get in collections because I grew up as an Order of the Arrow collector, was a lodge chief and a section chief, and I always was just really fond of getting OA patches. So let me show you what those look like. Okay, first up, going through the stuff, I found a really cool beaded piece that obviously demonstrates that this guy was from Tammet Lodge 225. And also there's a nice stack of this Area 12E conference patch from 1970, which you can see how many he has. Like this guy must have been like on Trading Post staff, right? Because he has a whole bunch of that exact same patch. And then there is just one single Topa Topa patch. So that's really cool. What I'm also going to show you now is all of the Order of the Arrow flaps, which he has, again, a lot. So someone who was big into the OA, went to the 69 National Scout Jamboree, obviously a pretty epic patch trader. Not all these patches are in mint condition. Some of them have been worn and sewn, but that may not have meant too much to him back in the day if he was slinging patches at the 69 Jamboree up in Farragut State Park. What I generally see in collections from this time period is I generally see a lot of the same flaps. It's true that some of these flaps were really pretty common during that time period, but let me just pause here for a second and throw these guys up there. You'll see that one advantage he would have had being from Tammet Lodge is that he would have had a very, very attractive, fully embroidered, solid patch to trade. And so there's 3 patches right there from his lodge that, I'm sure probably one of these is Ordeal, Brotherhood, and Vigil. He's got some more here as well. Someone who went to the 69 Jamboree, there would have been a lot of lodge flaps around. 10 years earlier, maybe in the mid-50s, that's when really OA flaps really become a thing. And so during this time period, some of these flaps are going to become, pretty common, things that you'll see a lot of. But then, that's probably one, this one here, Lodge 509, that's a little more obscure. This one from Utah, I've seen a lot of. Some of these I have seen a lot of, like this wind chick from Rhode Island, seen a lot of that, seen a lot of this guy. But that's a nice looking one. This is an obscure one. Some of these are from California, like these two guys are both from California. There's another one, and here's one from Alaska. This is a pretty good looking one. That train, that's always been a famous design. Here's one from Texas. So let me clear the board, and we'll keep going because there's a lot more flaps to show you. Keep going here. We got Chickasaw from down south, Chief Pomerog, that is up in the New England area. I won't name them all off because I will get it wrong, and somebody will say, you don't know your lodges? I thought you were a patch collector. That's all right. I want you guys to see all the flaps because this is just fun for me. I love the fact that I got a collection that has one of my favorite topics in it, Order the Arrow flaps, and I can just throw these out. So back in the day when I was collecting, went to National Jamboree myself and tried to collect one flap from every lodge. I started off trying to do it where I would just get lodges 1 through 100. That was my initial goal. And then I decided later to try to keep going. I also decided later to upgrade. That's another really common one there. And try to make sure that my collection featured patches like this, patches that are what I call pre-fleur-de-lis and especially Swiss embroidered. So here's a great example like this lodge from Renaqua. You can see it's a solid embroidered flap, no fleur-de-lis, which means it's pre-1975, cloth back, nice thick embroidery, just a beautiful classic look. So it's in my collection, those are the type of flaps that I have. And literally almost any flap here could fit in my collection. Now, thankfully, I'm blessed that I've been working on this collection so long that I am pretty much done, guys. I pretty much have my collection complete as far as one lodge flap from every lodge that ever issued a flap. I've got that complete, finished it, I believe, last year. But it's still wonderful. It's wonderful for me to get collections that have so many flaps. That is a lot of fun. And then I'll close it out by putting this up here. He also has a case. And in this case, we're going to see his eagle medal and also, of course, his eagle patch. Show that to you. Well, to finish out this video, I definitely want to show you the campfire blanket. Before I even pull it out, let me sort of say why I call these campfire blankets. So there is a tradition, especially in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, kind of countries over there, where you would take patches and sew them onto a poncho, and then you would wear that in the evening when it got chilly. Again, campfire blanket, right? Not as much common in America, especially where I'm from in the South. It just never gets that cold, where you'd be on lots of camping trips or OA events where you'd want to wear a heavy wool blanket on top of you in the evening. But I'm sure in the upper parts, I know especially Canada, of course, they're going to have a lot of traditions that come from the United Kingdom over to Canada. So that is a part of the tradition. So let me see what this is. I love campfire blankets. I actually have a collection of them. I have my own personal one. And being that this guy went to the 69 Jamboree, this campfire blanket could potentially be pretty epic. So let's check it out. And the camera will not do it justice. I mean, there's no way that this camera is going to be able to catch all of this. Oh my gosh. Wow. Look at this. Wow. Oh, gosh. Again, I mean, I'll have to do this in stages, but beautiful idea here. 1969 Jamboree neckerchief. And then on top of that, just filled with Order of the Arrow flaps, including a few that I can already see that are pretty nice. Here's a 67 World Jamboree. And of course, right over that one, he put the 69 National Jamboree patch. But, the idea of a campfire blanket is it's not patches that you earned. It could be friendship patches, patches that you traded for. So, like, that would not be that odd to see, like, a flag from a Japanese scout here, or an assistant scoutmaster patch, or another woven one here, or patches from just all over. It's really just kind of a colorful blanket. Over on this side, what has he got? There's another neckerchief. I'm not sure that I can make out. Oh, here it is. It's 1965 Decalathon Mecklenburg Council. Oh my gosh. On this Campfire Blanket is a Mecklenburg County Council, Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, neckerchief. What are the chances? And then he's got some cool OA flaps. There's that patch we saw from that conference. I can tell you that this gold border was probably for officers. This guy could have been a section officer at that conference, and that's why he has the gold border patch instead of the purple ones that we saw. My gosh, guys, it just goes on and on. There's merit badges. There's all kinds of stuff. This is a beautiful example of a campfire blanket. I am thrilled. I am thrilled. This is one I'm going to put out for display. Oh my gosh, this is a keeper. I love this blanket. This is so cool. It's a California blanket, but it's got stuff from all over. I'm seeing more stuff from Mecklenburg, some stuff from East Carolina. I mean, this guy really traded and got around, and the fact that it's all sewn on. Let me just take a quick look. Yep. I mean, you can tell by the embroidery here, and it probably would show up with the camera, but it's all hand-stitched. Every one of these patches meticulously hand-stitched on here. I'm not seeing anything done by like by a machine, which you really couldn't. I mean, look how thick this thing is. And what is this blanket? I think this is probably, this reminds me of a British blanket, to be honest. When I look at the material and the quality, I've seen some blankets like this before that are kind of like a British camp blanket. So I don't know, but I don't know if I could give you even a, it doesn't have a poncho thing. So that's one thing that maybe makes it a little American, but you could definitely wear this. Although probably for him, he just used it as kind of a brag blanket. So, wow, what a way to end an unboxing video. Now you can see why I like doing these things. I love getting collections from people, love seeing their time capsule. This guy went to the 69 Jamboree. You kind of do the math. How old would that put him? He's getting up there. And so this guy lived out in California still. His brother, again, lived here in North Carolina. So we worked out the deal for me to buy this from him. And I'm so happy that I did. This will be a part of my collection for a long, long time. And hopefully I can share this at different scouting events I go to. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. Be sure to go to my website, scottpatchcollectors.com. There you can find everything I'm doing in this hobby, from my podcast to my newsletter, other unboxing videos like this. Maybe it's time for me to do a video about my campfire blanket collection. That would be kind of fun. I have them from New Zealand, from the UK, obviously. I think I might have one from Australia. And I have a few from Canada as well. So I have a cool little collection, and now this one will go in there. So I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks very much.